Who are you?
Whoever you want me to be.
Don't say I never gave you anything.
It's feeling epic.
3 words. 8 letters.
I remember everything.
Hello. Welcome back to Previously on Teen TV. I'm Jillian Benani.
And I'm Claire Wojciechowski.
Well, last week we brought you the Cruel Intentions movie, and now it's time to talk about the TV show. I am fresh off a binge. The show is on Prime Video. If you haven't watched it,
see for yourself.
Yes.
Yeah, make your own decision.
You should watch it. And we're going to get all into it today. We're going to talk all about it. But first off, Claire, you weren't with us last week. Tell us your thoughts on the movie so we know where you stand.
I mean, I love the movie. I agreed with everything that you all said about it on last week's episode. It is a teen classic. It's one of those like 1999 like pillar movies. I don't know that I watched it at a sleepover, but I do remember like watching it in middle school, I think on like cable maybe.
Oh, wow.
I think it was on cable.
That's dark to be on
Isn't
cable. That's racy.
I know. And I'm thinking maybe I'm misremembering
Where were you
this.
getting your cable?
It was basic. It was like TBS, TNT.
No way.
Or
way,
I
girl.
may have convinced my dad that it was like a teen movie at the video store.
Yes.
Do you know what I mean?
I did this all the time.
Because like he didn't really check on what I was renting that closely. I'd be like, oh, it's a teen movie, and he's like, okay, and I he didn't know it was rated R.
And if your parent is just there with you in the store, the Blockbuster guy is not going to question you. That was the key. It's like, I had one guy kind of looking at me once like, are you sure? This is like rated R. You look like 10.
Yeah.
And I was like, just sign it out, buddy. My dad's here.
Yeah. No, the one film my dad ever vetoed was Charlie's Angels. To this day, I don't know why.
LOL.
Right?
Was it Cameron Diaz in the underwear dancing?
I don't think he even knew about that. I think he just saw like 3 sexy ladies on the cover of the case and was like, this is too grown up for her. Meanwhile, I was like 12.
That is so funny.
Isn't that wild?
But he let you watch Cruel Intentions.
Yeah, he wasn't
much more dirty than Charlie's Angels.
He, like I said, was not paying that close attention. God bless him.
I kind of love that.
Yeah.
So no sleepover.
No sleepover movie for me, but
no sleepovers for Claire.
just me solo in my bedroom watching this movie by myself.
We'll have a sleepover and watch it.
Oh, please. I would love that.
So yes, the movie, such a classic. Glad you're on board with me and Tyler. We love this movie. I personally was shocked as I was watching this TV show how similar it was to the movie, or how similar they were trying to make it. I mean, look, we knew that cross necklace was going to be in it.
Yes, of course.
That was in the previews. I get that. I'm like, that's fun. That's a little homage. But there are like specific plot points in this TV show that are like the exact same as the movie. And I was shocked by that.
Well, I think the reason for that, and this is just a guess, is that they're really, like, Cruel Intentions is based on a French novel, an old French novel. And I feel like in making this TV show, they were like, let's stick to the novel and not do something in the world of the movie. That seems to be what they did.
Oh, okay.
That's just my theory.
I see what you're saying there.
But then if they're going to do that, why bother giving it the same name, Cruel Intentions? I guess for like IP purposes. But
well, I thought that that's what they were doing, just taking the name for like IP purposes of like, we want to get this made. Let's put it under the Cruel Intentions name, but we're not going to follow the plot that much to it. You know, we'll have the crowds, we'll have Bittersweet Symphony, we'll have some things, but like it's going to be its own thing.
And it is not. It is very close to the movie.
Very, very, very close. I would not recommend watching the movie so close to watching the TV show.
I could see that.
I think that took me out of this a little bit. But I feel like if you do that now, I've warned you. So you're in better hands. Like, I'm warning you how close the plot points are to the movie. But I think that it was just hard to to separate it watching them so close together.
Yeah, I could see that. And for me, I mean, I've seen the movie many times, but it's been a long time. It's been a couple years at least since I've watched it. So when I was watching the show, it was more like that it was a little fun that it was so familiar. I was like, oh, I recognize that. I recognize that. I wasn't comparing it as much in my head.
Yeah, I think I was like, okay, this scene is very similar to this. Oh, we have another virgin.
Well, you got to have a virgin.
I was like, we're going back to the virgin storyline in 2024.
I mean, what really shocked me was like the names are so close.
Yeah.
That I was like, this is a little too hit the nail on the head for me.
That confused me a little bit. Before we get into that, let's talk about the cast a little bit.
Sure.
We have a new cast of fresh, young teen stars, new people to follow on Instagram. You know, I looked up everybody as I was watching this. I'm like, who got the most followers out of doing this show?
Oh my God.
Yeah, so we have a new cast of young characters. Did you have like a favorite actor out of this?
I don't know if I had a favorite actor. You know, I guess the character that I really liked, and maybe just because I identified with the character most, was Cece.
Yes.
I felt so much for Cece. Like, I'm not quite at her level, but I could see like that, like neuroses. Like, I could see how I would, you know, spiral, especially if I were like younger in college and stuff. So I really liked her. I thought she did great.
She was my favorite character.
Yeah, see, she's like just so like relatable.
She brought so much comedy,
Yes.
I thought, to the show that was needed. And she was much different from the Cece in the movie, which I really liked. I felt like we had to change that character a little bit.
Yeah, we sure did.
No offense to Selma Blair, but I felt like I was happy that they, you know, made Cece kind of somebody a little different. One of the major differences from the TV show to the movie.
Yeah, I think in the movie, Cecile is very like naive and almost childlike in a way that in retrospect is a little disturbing. And in the TV show, Cece is not naive, but just kind of like so high strung that she's not fully picking up on cues. But she's not like dumb. She's just sort of like so stressed out about her own stuff that she's not looking around her, I think.
Well, I like that they had her be smart.
Yeah.
I thought that was fun. She's also the only character we really see like care about school and doing schoolwork and like in a class. And I like that her storyline of being the TA for the teacher and then she falls for him. I really I enjoyed that storyline.
Yeah, she's the only one that we see like doing things.
Yeah.
Like, yes, Caroline and Lucian are manipulating, but like Cece's actually like making plans and like arranging. She has to arrange these parties. She has to like supervise Rush. Like, she's the one that's doing all of the labor for everyone else. She's the most capable. And I think that you can't help but root for her for that reason.
Our MVP is Cece, I think.
Yeah.
We're giving it to Cece already.
I think so.
Top of the show. I also did think Sarah Catherine Hook, who plays Caroline, Catherine in the movie, I thought she did a good job as Caroline.
Yeah.
I thought she really brought that like bitchiness to the role. I think it's hard to play. It's tough.
It's tough because especially in the movie, she's so purely bitchy that you don't ever really...
There's no other side.
There's no other side to her. And that's fine for a movie when it's like 90 minutes long.
Yeah.
But for an 8-episode TV series, I don't know if that's sustainable or interesting.
We have to see other layers to her. And I think that I like that in the TV show we did start to see that a little bit, at least with all the mom drama. But I mean, do you think that they cast her because she also has 3 names like Sarah Michelle Gellar, Sarah Catherine Hook?
I mean, I don't think it hurts, you know?
Well, and she's going to be in The White Lotus in the coming up season, which is exciting.
I mean, they do not cast duds in that.
I'm like, she's an actor.
Yes.
All right. From Cruel Intentions to White Lotus.
If we have to pick one to watch, we're putting our money on her because Mike White did the same.
Yeah, I will put my money on Sarah Catherine Hook to be the biggest out of this new cast. Jesse, do you want to tell us some casting what ifs? We love some casting what ifs. So these are people who were in talks to be cast or
We're rumored to
Yeah.
be cast.
So according to IMDb trivia page for this show, there's 3 characters that they list that were almost, or at least considered casting different, more famous people, to be honest.
Well, I figured that they were trying to get at least one big famous
Right.
person
Yeah.
in this show when you already have a successful IP.
Right. They went in a different direction. But
Or people said no.
Yeah.
or that.
Yeah.
So Caroline, they were considering Jenna Ortega for Caroline.
Oh, wow. No. I'm
Yeah.
glad that did not happen.
I don't think that would. I mean, I just have her pinned as like emo.
Yeah.
like,
I feel like though
Wednesday.
maybe they were thinking about giving Caroline like a deadpan thing,
yeah.
you know?
Yeah.
Kind of like that bitchy deadpan, like
Yeah,
nothing
I could
else
see
to
that.
her or something.
Yeah.
But no, that would not have worked.
No.
So Jenna, we love you.
I love you, Jenna. And then Lucian, they were considering Shawn Mendes.
Oh my God. I am jaw drop about that. What? This is a genuine reaction. Like, I did not look these up at all beforehand. What?
I mean, I guess they stuck with the curly brown hair, but then
They were way too focused on that curly brown
Yeah,
hair. Like,
it was a lot.
you can cast somebody with
You could have gone so many
hair.
different directions with that.
Also, like, just you're gonna give Shawn Mendes like the lead of a TV show, like a major role when he's like never even acted.
Yes.
you would have loved that. Don't lie.
I would have been curious.
I would have been curious.
100% would have been
but
curious.
They would have taken me out of it, I think.
Yeah.
That's true. Yeah.
I mean, have him be like a side thing, like the main role.
yeah, he could have been like a good Blaze, I think.
Yeah, exactly.
would've been
Have him
fun.
be in the frat.
Yeah, in the
Have him
frat.
get
Yeah.
like hit with a beer bottle, whatever.
Yeah.
But like this iconic role.
Yeah.
Sorry, I'm like shook.
I mean, they didn't do it. So
Right.
I feel like
I
you're
know,
mad.
right.
Okay. Okay.
It
Who's
didn't
the-
I
happen.
know. I don't know why. I'm just even the thought of it is like
upset.
getting me really angry.
And then the third one is for Cece. They considered Jojo Siwa.
I don't believe that for a
What?
second. I think that's
It's
fake.
written on IMDb trivia. Okay, so
They
it's
must
correct.
have then were planning on Cece still trying to be that like naive adolescent thing.
Again.
I get the stunt casting for that a little bit of like she was such a child star and still childlike later on, which kind of goes into the CC from the movie.
No, she's an adult, Jillian. Haven't you heard her music?
well, I know. I'm sorry.
She's
in
inventing gay pop.
Yeah, she's in a new era, but she was wearing that side ponytail well into her late teens.
Certainly. You're correct there.
So I feel like maybe then they were trying to have the CC be like the movie still in that sense.
Yeah, I don't.
That,
I don't.
I'm
think
glad
that would've
again.
gone well.
We're so happy
Yeah.
they did not go in that direction.
Yeah,
There
that
is-
would have been a different show if they cast all these people.
Yeah, that would have been.
It would have been like much
Weird.
harder to buy into it at
yeah,
all.
I feel like if you were just gonna remake it as like a movie again, maybe I could buy into those casting what ifs.
Yeah.
But as a TV show, I'm like, no. You need to cast some some actors who are 35
Yeah.
playing 21.
Yes. That's the sweet
Exactly.
spot.
That's what we do. We love it.
Well, give us. Should we guess some of their ages? I
Yeah.
love doing this with a new cast.
Yeah, so I looked up their ages. You guys can guess, and then I'll tell you the real
Okay,
one.
shoot.
But we have Caroline, Lucian, Annie, Cece, and then I also did Blaze as well.
Okay. Caroline. I think she's 24. Sarah Jane.
Sarah Catherine. Hook.
Sarah Catherine Hook. Thank you.
I'm gonna go. She is 27.
29.
Wow. Good for her.
Wow. Good for her.
Yeah. Good for her.
Wow. I feel like they could have cast me in this show almost.
Yeah, you're
Season 2,
29.
baby.
Wow.
Exactly.
Well, now we're in college, so it's like you can cast like
Yeah.
some older people.
Exactly. Let's do Annie Grover, Savannah Lee Smith.
Oh, I feel like she's like
Young. Or old?
I was gonna go old.
Go
I'm
old.
I'm gonna go 29.
I'm going to go younger and go 23.
24.
Okay.
Oh my god, I was
Okay.
so wrong. Good job, Claire.
Thank you.
Wow,
Yeah.
that's a good one. She's
like the
playing
youngest one I looked up.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Hint.
Should we do Lucian?
Mm-hmm.
So I'll be honest, I can't find Zach Burgess's age.
Oh, I kind of love
Good for
that.
him.
Not public
He is
information.
keeping that under wraps.
Okay.
That guy's got to be like 35.
Yeah. Or I
Or,
don't
like,
know.
quite
Like,
young.
or really young.
Yeah.
I was like looking everywhere. I cannot find it.
He looks pretty young.
He looks
yeah.
young.
I actually feel like he's younger, but
Yeah,
I
I
don't
feel like
know.
he could, like, you could tell me he's 20 and I'd be like, yeah.
yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah, he might be like 20.
I'm going to say 22 just to feel better about myself, given all of his, like, butt that we see in the show.
I know, that's true. Yeah, I mean,
'Cause he's the
please be above
fingers
21.
crossed.
He's the most naked in the series. So,
yeah, so I
like,
feel like he's got to be like, well, we don't know. We'll
We
never
won't-
know.
we- I
We'll
don't
never
have the
know
answer.
Yeah, we'll never
unless
know.
he
Yeah.
comes on the pod.
should we
Yeah.
DM him and ask?
Yeah, I might.
Please reveal
Very
your age.
important.
Can I guess who the oldest person is?
Yes.
I'm-
Of the people, I mean, I only looked up 5 of them, so I don't know everybody's.
So we've got
I'm going to guess the guy who plays Blaze.
That is why I pulled that one, because guess how you guess how old he is.
32.
I was going to say 32.
He's 31.
Oh, we were close.
nice.
Okay, yeah.
And I believe he is the oldest on the cast. I'm
Okay.
pretty sure.
Oh,
So.
fun.
All right.
Good for him.
Yes.
You know who I really would have loved to be cast in this show? The guy from the Gossip Girl reboot who's also in Tell Me Lies. Thomas Doherty. Yeah.
He's great.
I mean, I just feel like I really wanted him to be Lucian.
I just saw him on an Instagram post on the way here, and I followed him.
See, exactly.
dang.
Because he's so
hot.
He's hot and he looks evil.
Like, I'm sorry. I don't think that the actor who played Lucian was bad by any means. I don't think it's him. Like, I think he's a good actor. I think that he was a little miscast in my brain, at least.
He comes off. He looks like a sweet little puppy,
Yes,
and not like
exactly.
not like a devious boy.
Yeah, I
man.
needed like that deviousness a little bit more. And I just felt like Thomas Doherty. Honestly, any of these Gossip Girl reboot guys could have done it.
Yeah,
Almost.
yeah. I'm trying to remember them.
I know. Well, whatever.
Anyway, yeah, he would have been the best, but
Right?
it's okay. Yeah,
I mean, if I was in charge of the show.
maybe he can play like a brother next season or something, an unheard of brother we've never heard of before. But
Yeah.
that's fine.
So that's my big who I would have wanted to be cast.
Okay.
Do you have one, Claire?
You know, just off the top of my head, I don't know if you've watched any of the Ryan Murphy shows recently. I'm not a huge fan.
Oh, I know who you're going to say.
Do you?
The guy Cooper Cook or
Actually,
whatever?
no. I was going to go with the
Oh.
other one.
Oh, wow.
The one who is not a Golden Globe nominee.
I'm going for the Golden Globe nominee.
I think he would have been great.
Yeah.
But I have a soft spot for the other one. His name is Nicholas Alexander Chavez because he was on General Hospital for years.
Oh.
So I like watched him on that show and I remember thinking like he's really good. He should be doing something besides a
Yeah.
soap opera. And now he is just not getting awards for it. But that's okay. He's got time.
No, good for him. I feel like he is a good pick. I could see him playing a little devious.
Yeah, and he did play like a snobby rich kid on General Hospital. So I think he's
See,
got
there
it.
we
He's got it
go.
in him, you know?
You know what? That's what it is. Lucian was not giving me snobby rich kid in this. And that was bothering me. Maybe it was the cardigans. I don't know. But, or the hair. I was like, we didn't need to do the curly hair thing. Like,
Did you want him to shave it for the role?
no, I just
I know what
felt
you're
like
kidding.
it's like they were trying so much to make it be like Ryan's hair or something. It's like, what? We
I
don't
get what
need
you mean.
to do the exact same thing.
I know the names are close enough already. You don't need to make them look the same.
The names are close. I mean, we have a lot of similar scenes. We have like the same car, basically.
Yes.
There's so many similarities. I mean, a lot of the plot is similar as the movie. Let's talk about the plot.
Okay.
Let's go into it.
So a brief sort of synopsis. It's about the step siblings, Caroline and Lucian, who are seniors at Manchester College. They're both involved in Greek life. Caroline is the president of a sorority. Lucian is the treasurer of his fraternity. Caroline wants to convince this freshman, Annie Grover, who is the vice president's daughter.
Why didn't we just make her the president's daughter? Do people care about the vice president's daughter?
No, or like the governor's daughter, even. Like,
oh yeah, that would have been good.
Like that would have been like more believable, but still important in the world of the show.
Yeah.
But either way, she's the vice president's daughter.
And a virgin.
Important.
We need to remember she is a virgin. Didn't she also say she hasn't kissed anybody?
Yeah, she's never kissed anyone
I was
either.
like, we had to take it that far.
Like, I know that you're like very sheltered because of your dad or whatever, but like
Right.
somebody's got to be kissing you at some like government party or something. Like there's got to be.
That's what I was kind of thinking. I was like, she's like well connected, so I feel like you have a lot of opportunities to like kiss people.
Well, and we know that she's like
I'm like, I wasn't well connected like she was, okay? And I even kissed somebody before college.
She also
Not till senior year.
But also we know that she knows Scott. Like she and Scott are friends. They've known each other for years. So it's like you never like even like as part of like a game of spin the bottle or something like silly like that. Like
also, she would have taken that to the grave, the no kissing thing.
oh yeah,
I just
would
don't
not-
think she ever would have told anybody that.
No.
That girl would have convinced herself she kissed somebody. Just speaking from some experience.
But yes, Caroline wants Annie Grover to rush her sorority to help them recover from this hazing scandal that involved both her and Lucian's respective Greek houses. So she gets Lucian to help her by saying, if you can convince Annie to rush my sorority, and if you can prove that you slept with her, which like why she needed that proof is beyond me, then I will sleep with you, which is again very similar to the movie.
Yeah, we have another bet going on.
Yes, there's also some subplots about Cece, who has a crush on her professor, as we mentioned, and then Blaze, who is in the fraternity. He's trying to hide that he's poor by convincing his like
Not poor.
he's poor. He's trying to convince his like secret lover, who is real dumb but very sweet. Scott, yes, who again knows Annie. He gets him to be president of the fraternity so that he can manipulate him essentially and hide the fact that he's poor. And that's that.
Well, let's focus on our step siblings here.
Absolutely.
We got to talk about that.
They're the reason we came to the show, you know?
No, I mean, they took the step siblings to another level in this one. I thought they would downplay the step sibling thing a little bit. I thought it would be maybe like the step siblings had like made out once before or something. And it's like still just a little cat and mouse game, just kind of something a little bit fun or something like that. And it is like full blown.
I mean,
it's not as like, I just don't think it had the same thing as the original. I don't want to keep saying that for everything, but like,
no, I see what you mean, because I think in the movie it's very like cheeky.
Yes.
And like flirty, and they're grabbing each other, but it's like so clear that like they're teasing. Like it's a game for both of them.
Yeah.
And in this one, I don't know, like it's just not as fun.
Yeah.
Like they're still flirting with each other, and I think that was sort of my takeaway overall was that like it's not as horny, and it's also not as fun as the movie.
Yeah. I would agree with that. I feel like it wasn't like that fun flirtiness that like it was all just a little like depressing.
Yeah, like I was gonna say there's something sad about it.
Yeah.
Because like the whole point is that like they keep reminding, particularly Caroline keeps saying to Lucian, like, we're broken and nobody understands you, and like she really is really cruel to him in a way that's I think worse than the movie almost.
I feel like they made her a little crueler in that sense because they were really trying to give her more layers.
Yeah.
Of really trying to be like, she is this way because of her mother.
Yeah.
We get a mother in the TV show.
Right. We get more reasons why.
Which I thought that was really interesting. And I actually think that that's why the step sibling plot line didn't work for me as much in this one, is because in the movie, we don't see a parent. And I think that that's how you in your mind can like still think the step sibling thing is kind of hot because we're not seeing it. So you're like, in my head, I'm kind of like, oh, these two were just thrown in a house together like a year ago or something like that.
There's no family sense there. They're just two people in a room in the Upper East Side.
But then when you bring a mom into the mix, it's kind of like, oh, you're like family. Your
Yes.
the mom is like talking to each of you individually. Like we're seeing scenes of that. You're all at dinner together.
The mom is a real piece of work. Like she is
I
interesting.
mean, what a mom. I mean, do we need to, well, I don't know. It's like so shocking.
It's really like that. I was like shocked, but also I was like, finally we're going there. Like it
Well,
felt
I
like they were
know.
dancing around it for a while. And so part of me was like, we see the mom is horrible to Caroline throughout the series.
Yeah.
She's like really demanding and really hard on her, and nothing Caroline does is good enough, even though Caroline is trying so hard to please her mother. The one moment of vulnerability we see from Caroline is after her mother berates her and Lucian tries to sincerely comfort her.
Yeah.
And Caroline's like, no, like this is a game. Like she won't let herself be vulnerable with him.
Right.
And then at the end of the season, after Caroline is pissed at Lucian and she betrays him, and he decides to retaliate by making revenge porn with her mom and sending it to her.
I need to know how long she's been his stepmommy. Like, I need to know. I mean, I need to know how long she's been in his life. Because he says in it that his mom died
When he was 12.
Yes. So that leads me to believe that this woman came along maybe a couple years later.
I feel like, yes, and I feel like rich men, absentee fathers in that situation are
Yeah.
like, they're searching for somebody right away.
Exactly.
Like, I would think that they've been step siblings for a long time at this point.
Yeah. So I was like, whoa, this is crazy. But I was also kind of excited because I was
Yes.
like, okay, we're going somewhere. We're being a little dubious. This is so like scandalous finally. Like I feel like that is
Yes.
what I wanted this whole time.
Yeah, it felt like a lot of it was like trying to be as shocking as the original, but like without being as campy, and it wasn't hitting for me. And then finally in
Yeah.
like that last episode, I was like, well, okay, at least somebody's doing something crazy.
I know. I totally agree with that. And I do want to talk more about the ending. I do feel like the show spent a lot of time setting things up. Like the first couple episodes, I feel like not that much happened. And we were really setting up this Greek life thing and this like battle of the Greeks and non-Greeks on campus, which overall like didn't have that much to do with the plot of this
No.
season. But I did appreciate that the show really like built this world. Like I believed that these were rich college students. I like that the show took place in college. I feel like we don't have enough representation of shows that take place in college. And I think it's such an interesting world to go into. And I appreciated that this was very different from like Sex Lives of College Girls. Or, I mean, God, I can't even think of another college show right now.
I mean, the one that comes to mind for me is Greek.
Yeah, like
That was very different.
I feel like this was so different, and I liked that they weren't trying to be like real college. Like I loved seeing these like grand sorority houses and Caroline's like insane room in this sorority house. I like that was like apart from reality.
Yeah, I mean, this is not in any way, shape, or form an accurate depiction of the college experience.
Right. But I like that.
No, but it's fun. Yeah. I think it is like, it gives you that sort of not fantasy quite, but like this like very unrealistic world. Like they never go to class. They're never worried about their grades. All that they care about is like, you know, these Greek events and like their social status and planning these parties and things like that. And Caroline has this giant room and these fantastic outfits.
Yeah.
In this palatial, spotless sorority house, and I loved it. Like it's just fun. It's silly.
And I liked all the sorority and Greek life events then that we got. I mean, we're getting all these like rush events as they're trying to get Annie Grover into the house. So I thought that was fun.
I mean, I particularly enjoyed the very serious like black robe procession up the stairs or whatever it was, and like the mention of like the basement girls, the girls who are too ugly to be on the main floor of the house, they stick them in the basement.
Okay, that was funny.
Right? Like it's mean, but it's like
Yeah.
it's kind of funny.
But that's like the snarkiness that we want.
Yes.
So I appreciated that in this show. And I feel like normally I'd be like, oh, Greek life, like I don't really care. But I felt like this was just so different and out there from a traditional Greek life thing that I enjoyed it. I thought it was fun. And it really just allows you to make a bunch of different events in your TV show then.
Right.
Like I love the heaven night where all the girls have to like spill a secret and they're all wearing a headband.
It's so ridiculous.
It's so over the top, but I love it. And I'm glad that it wasn't like traditional hazing or something like that. Like there was like hazing and stuff like that still, but I feel like this was like not reminiscent of anything going on like at college today.
No,
really.
I mean, Lucian's birthday party is Paradise Lost theme, and the budget for that birthday was insane. Like more money than they spend on any like formal party throughout the year. I'm sure it was crazy.
That's why I like my teen shows to be on Amazon, because the budget at Amazon is insane. And this party, I thought the same thing. I thought I was like watching Saltburn for a second.
Yes.
When they have that big party at the end.
Yes. Oh, yes.
I was like, this is crazy, but I love it. Like, I want to be visually entertained, and this did that.
It did. I mean, we had like some dancers and acrobats and like people, you know, half naked passing out drinks and food. It was incredible.
I will say, if you are in the middle of watching this show, so it is like first couple of eps, I was like, okay, like, let's get to the point.
Yeah.
Da-da-da-da.
First 4 feels just like, oh, this is a vibe, but it's not really like a show.
But then what got me interested was the Heaven Night episode when it comes out that Caroline takes Cece's secret.
Yes.
I was shocked. That is when I was like, oh my God, okay, now I'm interested. Now we're being devious. Now we're getting there. Now we're getting to some plotting. I think I was like, oh, what's her business with Cece? Like, what's going on there?
Well, I think too, it shows you that like Caroline doesn't hate Cece, she just doesn't care.
Exactly.
Like Cece is a tool for her. She's a minion. She has no respect for her as a person and doesn't really want to help her because she doesn't allow her to come to heaven for reasons that I forget. But she's like, oh, you did this wrong, so you can't come.
She was late.
Thank you. And then she
was just late.
She was
That
late
it.
because she was late for coming from class or something.
Yeah,
like
she
that.
actually went to class.
Right. And she's like, well, you clearly don't care about this enough, even though Cece is the one who's doing all of the planning for everything. And then she takes her very like vulnerable, traumatic story because Cece isn't there to call her on it.
Right.
And
the story is that Cece's mom paid her tennis instructor to have sex with her.
Yeah.
Because she thought no other guy would want to have sex with her. Dark.
Normally you get that kind of thing from like a dad buying like his son a sex worker. Like I feel like that's like a thing that I read in like novels or something.
What novels are you reading?
Historical.
Your porn novels? That's what it sounds like.
Oh no. You know, I don't know. I mean, I'm thinking about like British TV more so when it's like a royalty and they're like, well, we got to have our son be knowledgeable before he marries his cousin.
Oh my God.
This whole part.
This is a plot point in New Girl. I just wanted to keep you talking about the novels.
I was like,
I
don't have a specific reference, but like,
I was literally thinking about New Girl. I was like,
New
but
Girl.
I'm just going to let this play out.
We really wanted to know what novel.
I don't have an example. I'm sorry.
We love it.
In Poor Things, in the movie Poor Things, when the guy brings his son in to watch him and Emma Stone.
Oh, right. Okay. Yeah. Well,
anyway,
New Girl.
In New Girl.
Yeah. But yeah, that really got me interested in this because I didn't see that coming. I did not think that Caroline was lying. I thought we were like getting to know Caroline a little bit more. And it also seemed like something her mom would do. There's a lot of bad moms in this show.
That's true. We don't get really any dads, but we get two bad moms for sure.
Which that's a rarity.
I know.
I kind of like that. This show went there.
I know. We're always talking about bad dads on this podcast, and finally we get some bad moms.
They're finally not dead. They're just
Honestly.
bad moms.
Yeah. Equal representation.
So that really hooked me in. And then another plot point that I really shrieked at. So we're going back to our step-sibling incest storyline. I shrieked when it is revealed that Caroline and Lucian have a shared album, and he uploads videos of him having sex with women to this shared album that Caroline not only looks at, but masturbates too.
That too, I was surprised because we see throughout that Lucian, every time he has sex with a girl or a woman or whatever, he records it.
Yeah.
And so we know this about him. And it's also like, he's very much like, everyone has, like, it's consensual. I ask them before I record them. So like that part of it is like, they take care of that. But he certainly doesn't have anyone's permission to share those videos with Caroline.
Right.
So strike one there. And then the fact that she is like masturbating to them. And they say this later. He's like, I made those for you. Like he throws that in her face, which is like,
again,
whew, that's some deep, deep psychological shit that I can't unpack.
I thought that was just going a little too far with the step siblings thing. I'm like, we're just supposed to be being a little handsy. This
Right?
is where I wanted them to follow the movie. I was like, well, now we're sharing sex videos.
And I think too, in the movie, it's like, oh, they're teenagers, they're in high school, they're just like, they're bored and they're horny.
Yeah.
And they're in a house together. And so like, you can kind of like, it's fucked up, but like, you can kind of write it off as that. Like they're young and they don't have anything better to do. But at this point, it's like, you're seniors in college, have some wisdom, I would think, you've been step siblings for years and you're still doing
like
it.
around other people.
Yeah.
All the time. Like we really, in the movie, we just see them in that room, which we talk a lot about. Mm-hmm. But I felt like in the TV show, because we have other people around and other people can see them, like I feel like Cece brought up a couple of times, which I did think was kind of funny when she's like, I don't know what is going on here. Yeah. Okay. I felt like she was kind of the audience in that sense. But the incest went too far for me this time. Normally I'd be saying that's hot, but I was like, whoa.
Yeah, the voyeurism was like a little bit too much.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was shocked. I was floored.
Right, and it kept you going into the second half of the season, I would think, right?
It really did.
Yeah.
Let's get into the ending then a little bit of like where that all goes.
Sure.
So Caroline ends up sending out the sex videos to the college.
Yes, she sends them anonymously, but still she releases them into the wild.
Yeah.
And people are pissed at Lucian, and that's causes some trouble for him. He's starting to develop feelings for Annie, so that's a whole situation that they have to deal with. And at the same time, Caroline sleeps with the Cece's professor that she has a crush on, and then
just like the movie,
and reports him to the school board or to the school, whatever, for like misconduct. Why? I don't understand. Like what is the purpose of this?
She just wanted Cece to be unhappy.
As you said about the movie, like there's no real.
I think that's what it is,
right? Like it doesn't really benefit her in any way. She just like doesn't want anyone to have any happiness.
Well, she's just pissed off.
Yeah,
and now she's lost Lucian, who she could always count on to be like obsessed with her.
Right.
She didn't plan for Lucian to fall for Annie Grover. And she's pissed off. And also, her and Lucian exchange words. Again, very similar to the movie. Sorry, I gotta stop saying that.
I was gonna say the reason why they did it is to copy the movie.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
But she and Lucian exchange words, and she's telling him, "You can't change. No one's gonna love you." Terrible stuff. And that's her motivation of sending out all the videos.
Yeah, to hurt him because he has the audacity to say, like, I'm not playing your game anymore. You haven't won, because he basically bows out and he's like, I'm not doing this. I'm going to pursue Annie, sort of. He doesn't even say that really. He's just like, I'm not doing this with you anymore. And she doesn't like that. So she retaliates. And he threatens in that conversation, I know how to hurt you too.
And boy, does he.
Yes, he makes the video of
Before we get into the mommy video again,
sure.
I want to talk a little bit about Lucian in these videos.
Okay.
And what I'm about to say might be a little controversial.
Oh my God, brace yourselves. I'm excited.
I just feel like this show is supposed to be like about deviousness and scheming. And I felt like they needed a different plot point than these sex videos getting out. Because I feel like while I think it's good that he got consent to get these videos, I just think that it's like you wanted to make sure that we knew that. And it just feels like not so devious. And I'm not saying he should have recorded women without their consent. But like, I just feel like do a different plot point, because you really wanted to make sure that like we knew he was getting consent from these women. Like, it just makes Lucian a lot less devious. And the whole thing kind of just like fell apart a little bit for me then.
See, I don't think I needed that, because I think we get that sort of like when he says it to Annie when they're about to have sex, and Annie's initiating it. She wants to have sex with him, and he like tells her about the videos, and she's like, okay, fine, like let's do it. Like, she's so cool and nonchalant about it, and I want to be like, be smarter. Like, not to like kink shame anyone, but like, you're the vice president's daughter. This is your first time. Like, maybe like you barely know this guy. Like, I wouldn't be so quick to agree to that in that situation. But for me, I think like the real, like the devious part about it is that like and Caroline knows this, is that when Annie is in the room and like Caroline's like, I told Annie everything. And she's like, he says something about, oh, I didn't release the videos. And she's like, oh, well then who did? Because if he admits that Caroline did it, he has to admit that he made them for Caroline. Right. And so I think like if we get a season 2, like that's the real fucked up part. It's not that he did it. I think because they're trying to be like more progressive on that front. It's like the fact that he shared them with his stepsister without permission.
Yeah, I know. I get what you mean. There was something like missing with that like storyline for me, just in general. Yeah, I don't know. I feel like he just kind of then like gets off scot-free. Like, we're supposed to like him.
What's unfortunate here, and this is a problem that exists because it's a show and not a movie, is that at the end there's an imbalance of like, we're supposed to be sympathetic to him and hate her. Right. And like in the movie, again, like I think that's fine and that can be fun because you wrap it up, you end it there. Yeah. You know what I mean? He makes the ultimate sacrifice in the movie. He dies to save Annette. And so then it's like, oh, well, he's redeemed because he did this big thing, and Catherine gets her comeuppance. And because it's a show and maybe there's a season 2, they had to leave it open, it doesn't feel fully satisfying, because like it does feel a little bit in this moment like he got away with a lot and Caroline, like, yeah, maybe that's like what it is. He's been punished and we are rooting for him, but we don't root for Caroline. And I kind of want to root for them both. Right. Or against them. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I wanted to root for her more throughout the whole thing, because I think that would be more interesting. Yeah. And it's just not there. So, I don't know.
I just think like something a little bit about that storyline was missing for me. And then I think them just being like, we got to make sure that we say that all the women consented to this. Like, just took me out of this, like, what's supposed to be this like devious scheming thing. I feel like they were really trying to balance, like, we want to, have these like scandalous storylines, but we also want to make sure that we're
no one's irredeemable.
Yes, that we're like following code and like stuff like that. And I just feel like it's hard to have it both ways in Cruel Intentions.
Right. Yeah. I think that was sort of the overall vibe from me, from critics, that it's just not quite as shocking or transgressive as the movie was. And because of that, it's like, it doesn't feel as must see. Like, I enjoyed watching it, but I wasn't like, oh my God, I have to like hit next episode,
But I will say I want a season 2.
Same.
Because the show just ended. Like, as we were really getting into things, and it really feels like the girls, Annie and Beatrice, are going to try and take down Caroline. And that got me excited.
Same. I was like, oh, Annie's smart. Like, she's on to Caroline. That is fascinating. And even Cece, too, has realized that Caroline stole her story.
Right, exactly. Yeah. So it's like everyone's figuring out Caroline is this like master manipulator and is, the person pulling the puppet strings on everything. And then the show just ends. And I was like, no. Like, I was like, what? I was shocked. I mean, luckily Bittersweet Symphony is playing, but I still just thought the song was playing. Right. And I'm like getting going. I'm like, oh my God, we're playing Bittersweet Symphony. We're not doing a cover of it. We're doing the real song. We're not doing this like slowed down version that they love to do with popular songs in these shows. It's the real thing. I was getting excited, and then it was like cut to black, basically.
Yeah, I think the pacing overall was an issue. Is that it took 4 episodes to like just set things up. Like
Yeah.
it felt so long, like you said, setting things up, and then it finally gets good, and then it ends so abruptly, and you're
I
like,
know.
come on, like we just got to the good part.
But it did really make me then want the
Want a
show to
season 2.
continue.
Same.
What would you want to see in season 2?
I mean,
I'll tell you what I want to see.
go for it.
I need a romance to root for. I'm sorry. If you're going to do one of these shows, I need a pairing that I can really like get behind and root for and want to get together.
I hear you.
Like Amazon put out a video of like interviewing the cast of like, who do you ship in season 2? And I'm
saw
like,
that.
I don't even know.
I saw that video, and a lot of them, I feel like the overwhelming response was Lucian and Cece.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah.
Huh.
And then someone said like Blaze and Lucian. I'm like, that could be fun.
I don't hate this Lucian and Cece thing. That's kind of fun. Did we even see them in like a scene together?
We see them a couple times. In the first episode, she walks into Caroline's room and Lucian
right.
is changing, and Cece is so flustered by this like shirtless man. And I'm like, it's just his shirt.
All
like,
right.
relax.
Well, I think that they would have really good scenes together and be funny together, which I would like.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like if Cece's trying to take down Caroline, they would make a really good team for that.
Oh yeah, Cece she's got the inside track. She could take her
Yeah.
down from inside the house.
Yeah. All right.
Yeah.
I'm shipping it. Season 2.
I think, like I've said this already, but I think I just need more of a softer side from Caroline. Not all the time, but the episode where we see her interact with her mom and they have that fight at dinner and Lucian comforts her, like that was like a moment when I'm like, oh, I get it. Like now I want her to succeed. I also kind of want them to hook up with each other in that moment because like they're actually being like tender with each other, or he's being tender with her. And then she so quickly like puts that wall back up, and from then on out is like hell-bent on her plan. But I think it would be more interesting and fun if I was like hating what she does, but like understanding why she did it.
Yeah, I agree with that. I think that they're saving a lot for season 2. It's kind of seemed like, honestly.
It seems like it, yeah.
I just feel like there was so much more to the story to tell. And I would love to like just learn more about Caroline, learn more about her mom. What does her mom do in DC? I'm so confused by that. I want more. I want just more to really like get into that and learn more about it. Because they like teased a lot.
Yeah. Oh yeah. They set up a lot.
Yeah. So just give this show a season 2, okay?
Yeah, and make it better than season 1. Get right into it. You know?
Get into the drama.
Yeah. No need to set things up anymore. We know all the players. We know what they're after. Like, just get straight to it.
I want a scheme per episode.
Yes.
I want like an overarching scheme plot and then like a scheme per episode where we're like leading up to the big scheme.
Like each episode is like a step in the plan.
Yeah, exactly.
To get whatever this final goal is. Yeah.
I want characters interacting all together. Let's get Scott in on the scheme.
I love Scott.
I love Scott. My favorite character. He was so cute. I loved him.
My favorite moment, and this made me genuinely laugh out loud, is when he's talking to Annie and he says something about like Operation Dumbo Drop or Dunstan Texas, some animal movie. And she's like, oh, maybe you should be a vet. And he goes, yeah, but I don't like war. And he says it so sincere.
It's so good.
It's so stupid,
I
but I
remember
loved
that.
it.
That was a really good line. And I was like, oh, that's comedy. Like, that was good. And not everybody would be able to nail that line like he did.
No, but he's very good at being like really dumb, but really funny and also really caring.
And like heartwarming.
Yes.
We needed a character like that in this,
Yeah.
I think.
Because he's like the only one really with truly good intentions.
Yeah. Not cruel intentions.
No, he's sincere. He's a good guy.
All right, so we were a little mixed on season 1, but we're hopeful for the future. Fingers crossed for season 2. But we want to hear from some of the other people out there. Producer Jesse, give us some of the good and the bad of the reviews that are out there so far on this show, because I feel like it is polarizing.
Yeah, I mean, the critics' take is not super positive.
Well,
on
rarely
this
is it for a teen
Yes.
show.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know what we expected, but it's interesting when you look at it on Rotten Tomatoes. It has a 24% tomato rating, so the critics review, which is pretty
That's
low.
not great.
But the audience rating is 79%.
I would agree with that. That's probably about what I would rate it.
I do think it is one of those where it's like, the general audience has a good time, but critically, it's not winning any awards.
What of these shows are?
Yeah.
I don't want these shows to win awards. I want to keep them close to my heart in my own little bubble.
Keep them silly and trashy and over the top.
Yeah.
So of the critics' reviews, I found a couple of good ones and a lot of negative ones, but I'll read the ones that I thought were funny. So for the bad reviews, Carla Meyer of The Wrap wrote, promised excitement or at least beer pong, but we received an Excel tutorial instead.
Oh,
snarky.
That is
A little
snarky.
snarky.
That's
Yeah.
snarkier than the show.
I was going to say, yeah.
Alex Mady of Joe Blow's Movie Network,
Oh, yeah, of course.
of course, top critic, wrote, this new series creators had the best intentions with their reimagining, but the results are just plain cruel.
Ooh,
Bad
burn. I do think they had the best intentions when
I
doing
do too.
this.
I think they were trying.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
I think this was a tough thing to do, honestly.
It's always hard when you're taking like IP work and like trying to do something with it. You just know you're going to get judged more harshly.
Of
course.
But you know what you're doing when you choose to do that.
Right, right. You know what you're signing up for.
Yeah.
No sympathy for these bad
sorry.
reviews from you two. I did not think this was bad. I think that what my frustrations were with it is that I think it could have been way better because I like the characters and I thought the actors were like pretty good in this.
Yeah, I thought they were
too.
good.
I don't think it was bad. I just think it was boring at times.
Yeah.
And everything happened at the very end.
Yeah.
Yeah.
My official review
Yeah, all
of
right,
Jillian
thank you.
previously on Toon TV.
TM. A couple good reviews on the critic side. Laura Nowak of TV Fanatic wrote, it still maintained the original's fun, entertaining vibe, but added some more psychological cruelty to the mix, which I feel like you guys would agree with.
Oh yeah, definitely. Again, please see Mom sleeping with stepson and recording it to send to daughter.
Yeah, it's much more blatantly psychologically manipulative.
It's
I
like
think.
these people are messed up.
Yeah.
Yeah. It also, I think.
Well, yeah. Again, I want to stop comparing it to the movie.
But everyone's like,
Everyone's
you can't
going
get out of
to.
that. Yeah. What else are you
I
gonna
also
do?
think the difficulty of this show is that, like, in the movie, like, Sebastian goes to therapy, and that's not like a common thing for like men to go to and admit to, and like it's seen as, you know, whatever. And now like therapy speak has like just influenced everyday language. Like people talk that way who aren't in therapy. It's just everywhere. So I think like they're coming up against this like more like quote unquote enlightened audience that are like looking for that.
Yeah.
And quick to point it out.
I mean, do you think that if this show wasn't called Cruel Intentions and had no attachments to the original Cruel Intentions, it would be doing better?
yes, I do.
I kind of agree.
I do. I think that is like a major problem with this show is that it
It's, like,
needed
not
to be more
necessary.
separate.
Yeah, like if they had just based it off of like the novel, but like called it something completely different.
Or like
without
it didn't have to
tying
be
it.
like it's just the story. Like it didn't have to be based off of
Well,
anything.
I was just thinking
Yeah.
like if they're keeping like the plot, what it is or whatever. Then, but yeah, even that. Like if they just made like a show about like devious college students.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I think
Like,
it would have been. It wouldn't have that burden.
Yeah, I think that's partially why it's like getting such bad ratings from critics.
Yeah.
But and then the other good review I have from Globe and Mail. This might not be the cruel intentions of your past, but it's certainly doing its best to modernize the cult of Greek life while presenting its own sexy scandals and twists. Just don't expect the same shock value.
Okay.
Again, there were some shocking
Yeah.
moments.
Maybe
And
they
there were
didn't
some
finish.
more shocking moments in this to me than there was in the movie. But
Maybe
it's
this
not
person
shocking
didn't
in the way sometimes you
No.
want it to be. I think that's the difference.
It's not like the crazy like one-liners. I think that we had in the movie.
It's not as campy. And I
No.
think like that is what we wanted from this a little bit more, but that's really hard to do in a TV show too.
I think well, that's why I say I think like comparing it to the original is the problem, because it is nothing like the tone of the
exactly.
original. Like it's hard to even categorize it as like in the same category, because it's the tone is totally different than the original. So like it just doesn't make sense for it to like be compared to that. So
and then it's hard not to compare it when so much of the plot is the same. The characters' names are similar. I mean, we have actors who are basically playing the same role in the movie and the TV show. I think that they went like overboard on the similarities, where I think that if we could have just like had this be based in Greek life and in college and changed up the plot maybe a little bit. I mean, it's just like so many of the scenes just brought that like same vibe. So it's hard not to compare, but everyone do your best to separate. Don't watch the movie close to the TV show.
Don't do it.
Don't make the same mistakes I did. Save yourselves. Should we do some as ifs? Is there anything else we didn't talk about with this show?
I did scream at when they played C'est La Vie to the hazing montage. I lost my mind. I don't know why.
Bewitched song?
It's
that
just,
felt out of place to me, too.
Because it's a weird one, because like it would have been popular in like 1999, but it's not in the movie, right? So like why?
Oh, but is that why they did it? Because it was popular in 1999?
Maybe.
Oh, that makes a little more sense. I mean, look, I love that song. I was like bopping around and everything.
It was on my Spotify Wrapped list for this year. I like rediscovered it, and then I played it a lot. I don't know, guys. It made me happy.
That is fun.
Isn't
That's
so,
a good one.
It's one of those like it came up on a playlist, and then I got like hyper fixated on it for I don't know, a month or something.
I mean,
anyway,
it's a good pump up song.
Yeah,
but it was like while they were
so bizarre
doing this stuff for Rush.
Yeah, very weird.
Like, get me some like Olivia Rodrigo or something during that.
She was in there, right?
Yeah, she was.
Yeah,
I like that. Amazon Prime paying for that music.
Yes.
We love to see it.
See that budget.
All right. It's time for our as ifs. This is the part of the show where we rant about something from Cruel Intentions, the TV show, and we have 15 seconds. Claire, do you want to go first?
Oh, sure.
Are you ready?
Yes.
all right, 15 seconds on the clock, starting now.
Cece is the only character we ever see going to class as if. I know that's not the point of the show. We're supposed to have fun and be devious and be involved in Greek life, but like these kids got to go to class sometime. They have to like maintain some sort of grades to stay in Greek life, don't they?
It also would have been a great opportunity to like have some characters interact because they had the same class or something.
Another reason for Caroline's mom to hate her is that she's not doing well in school or something. I don't know.
Yeah. Well, maybe season 2 we'll get some school.
I mean, I don't really want to watch.
I know.
I
don't need like Claire. It's like I want to see them in stats class.
I just like want to see like a reference. Like I feel like the threat of like expulsion because your grades are bad, or I don't know, someone steals a test, some shit. Like I feel like you can make it part of like the scheminess without putting them in like a classroom. I don't need that.
The stealing the test is good. I like that.
Yeah,
I would take that.
All right, Jill, are you ready for your as if?
I think I'm ready.
All right.
Let's do it.
15 seconds starting now.
Lucian being a devious bad boy with that haircut and those cardigans, as if he was giving me laid back smoker vibes, not rich bad boy having sex with every girl on campus, and those girls all give him consent to record them. I'm sorry, like those cardigans would not do that.
they're pretty interesting. Like I noticed that they took some risks with the fashion.
Yeah.
Like I feel like if he weren't so like rich, he would get made fun of for his sense of style.
Well, and I like that they gave him a thing. I just feel like I don't know if it was like the right thing. It was confusing to me.
I think they're trying to make him like Gen Z, whatever. Like maybe we just don't get it.
Yeah, maybe. He shows up to Annie's like room at one point with like some like weird like sheer printed like top type
okay,
thing.
I liked that.
I like it, but I'm like, does it make sense? Like, does it fit?
I
like,
know.
That's my
maybe
question.
we're just so used to like Chuck
I think
Bass
we're
and
of
his
the wrong-
suits that we're like, if you're rich, you got to be wearing suits
We're
like
of the
that.
wrong generation. So.
Yeah.
Well, I'm thinking quiet luxury. You know what I mean? Like that's where my brain is going.
I mean, I would have enjoyed like a cashmere sweater. It's like the cardigans were just like messing me up.
With,
or like a tight sweater or something.
Sure. Yeah.
Some of them looked like they were about to like poke a hole through.
They were
Yeah,
like
they
very
were
playful
ratted.
and
Yeah.
like very like cutesy almost.
Is this like something Tyler might wear or something? Not devious enough,
Wow.
you know? And I feel like show me the fashion. Where are my designer brands? If you're going to have these people be so rich and this college like so uppity, to where we have a whole poor character to show the differences, I need to see like the fashion.
Yeah. You want to see that wealth on display.
Yeah. And I thought we could have done more. Show me some Chanel. You got the money, Amazon.
Yeah.
Season 2.
Yeah, it's not a budget problem like it was for the first movie.
Yeah, I know. Yeah. Lot of budget problems with that first.
But look what a classic they made, you know?
I know. Exactly. All right. Well, I think we did it. I do encourage everyone to watch this show. I feel like this is like the most polarizing show we've watched
I think
so
it's-
far of the new ones.
Absolutely. I think it's the most like lukewarm we've been on any show we've ever talked about on this podcast. But I still
know.
liked it.
Yeah, no, definitely. It is fun to watch. Just, you know, the first couple eps, be on your phone. It's fine. You're not missing much.
I certainly was. Yeah. And maybe you've never seen the movie, in which case maybe you like it more. I don't know. Let us know. If you've never seen the movie and just watched the show, let us know your thoughts.
I bet you if you have not seen the movie, you would love the show. Like if you didn't know anything.
Yeah.
So good for you. Good for you for missing out on some pop culture of the 90s. All right. But yeah, write into us, people. Tell us what you thought about this show because I'm very curious. And Claire, tell them where they can find us.
You can find us wherever you get your podcasts. Please remember to subscribe, rate, and review us. Give us 5 stars. You can also find us on TikTok, Instagram, and YouTube at previously on _teen TV. Thanks for listening.